Hey guys, this is the Team on the Run call. It is, I don't even know the date, the 16th, April 16th. Thanks, Mom. My mom's here too. It's been it's been a busy night here. I am so excited to have my friend Jenny Swisher on tonight. Jenny and I met through the 3 to 9 star mastermind call that we were on Thursday nights. And so we decided to swap calls. And because I think it's always really nice for you guys to hear from other leaders besides me and the people in our organization. And I think this call is going to be super, super valuable because Jenny is going to take us into her inbox. So many conversations that we have are about what do we say to people? How do we interact with people? How do we lead with a leadership mindset when having conversations, and sometimes tough conversations, overcoming objections or inviting. And so I'm super excited that Jenny is going to take us into her inbox and just show us the nitty-gritty details. So she's going to just talk to us about building relationships through conversations. Jenny is, I'm going to read her accolades here, and hopefully I don't forget anything. She's a 6-star diamond. She has been elite twice. She's at 75 months of Success Club 10, which blows my mind because I have never even hit Success Club 10 for 12 consecutive months. 5, yes, but 10, that's super impressive. She's been a coach since 2010. She lives in Indiana, and she's been married to her high school sweetheart for 11 years, and they have a beautiful daughter who's 18 months old. She's cuter than cute. So I just always enjoy listening to Jenny on our mastermind calls because I just feel like she's got a lot of really solid, practical advice, no nonsense, and I've learned a lot from her. So I can't wait to just turn it over to her and see what she's got to share with us tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to her. Thank you guys for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to be here. Thank you, Jessica, for bringing up the opportunity to swap calls. I love for my team to hear from other coaches too. So hopefully you guys, we can connect here tonight. I want to keep it really open and casual. That's kind of how I am. So if you have any questions on the conversations that I'm going to share or anything that I say, please just, you can put them in the chat or you can even unmute yourself and just hop on. So yeah, a little bit about me and my coaching journey. I'll start with that. I started coaching back in 2010. I was battling with chronic migraine. I had literally a migraine for over 2 years straight that I couldn't seem to figure out the cause of. And so when Beachbody came into my life, I had experienced a lot of medical issues. I had 4 different neck surgeries. I'd done Botox for migraine. I had tried anti-seizure IV infusions, you name it. Anything possible as far as a trial, I tried with my migraine journey. And it finally came to the point where I was sort of at a breakdown moment where I was like, there's nothing else I can do in the medical community. I've seen every doctor that I can see. I've been to every clinic that I can go to. And, there was always like this good friend of mine that was always sort of this voice in the back of my mind about seeing a holistic doctor or taking a natural approach or trying to change my diet. And I always heard that, but I just thought, no, this pain is so bad. Like something has to be causing this that's far worse, right? I have to be a case. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show House. I have to be a case like that, right? Like something's got to be wrong. So finally, this same friend of mine became a coach, and I saw one day actually on her email tagline that she had become a Beachbody coach. Hi, Jessica's mom. And and so I reached out to her. I saw she was a coach, and I was like, "What did you just sign up for? What are you doing?" And she told me all about it. And at the same time, my husband and I were thinking of doing P90X. We had seen other people doing it on our social media. We were like, "Is this something that we want to do?" And so I kind of, like I said, was at a breaking point with my migraines, and I decided that obviously the pain wasn't going to get any better. I had suffered with it for over 2 years, but I decided that I just sort of had this moment where I was like, I'm not going to let this define who I am. I have to find something that will distract me from the pain. And so for me, the distraction was to put myself in another kind of pain with P90X. And so that's how my journey started. I started with P90X. I started with Shakeology. I woke up every morning at 5 a.m., battled through the headache, did every single workout with a migraine. So anytime I have a challenger that tells me they have an excuse, I'm like, no, you don't have an excuse. Like I had a migraine every day for 90 days. But it led me to so many great things, right? It led me to, I wound up doing the Ultimate Reset soon after I did P90X. The Ultimate Reset led me to find some food sensitivity issues that I was having, which led me down a holistic path to a holistic doctor and to holistic medicine, which led me down the path of figuring out that my migraines were hormone related. So all in all, I do attribute Beachbody and the journey with Beachbody to helping me discover what was going on with my body, right? Even if Shakeology obviously didn't cure my headaches or P90X didn't cure my headaches, but it set me on the right path to really kind of figure myself out. So I'm completely grateful, forever grateful to the company and to our products for what they've done for me. And so because of that, I have this sort of huge belief in what we offer, huge belief in not only the products, but the experience that we offer. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that tonight. But what I wanted to do is I am going to take you into my inbox, my private messenger. I've selected a few different messages that I want to share with you because I have found in my journey as a coach for the last 8 years that I've really had to coach my coaches. I have a feeling that we have probably some new coaches on here. We maybe have some coaches who've been coaches for a while. We'll probably have a good mix, right? And so I've found that no matter how long people have been a coach, they can always use coaching with their conversations. Even I am open, right? I'm open to my upline sharing with me how I can improve my conversation skills, because at the end of the day, what we do is relationship marketing. We're building relationships with people. We're building trust. And that's going to eventually lead to them taking a leap or taking a risk or trying our challenge group and seeing results, which is going to help build our business too. So before we get to that though, I do want to just take a minute to talk to you a little bit about mindset, because I think mindset plays a huge role. I have a PowerPoint, and I'm not usually a PowerPoint person, but my team has told me before that they like, when we do Zoom calls, they like to see something so that they can kind of absorb it better. So I'm going to pull it up on screen. Even if I don't say word for word what's here, I want to make sure that you guys have access to sort of my notes. Hang on one second. I don't know what I just did. Okay, hang on. I'm going to share screen. Okay, so when I do this, it means that I can't see you, but I think that's okay. So, all right. So it's all about taking ownership, right? Even though we're going to be talking about those conversations, it really is about kind of creating a leadership mentality within yourself. And so I always like to tell my coaches, I need you to be thinking a level up from where you really are right now, right? So whether you're a brand new coach or an emerald coach or a diamond coach, regardless of where you are, rank really doesn't matter. It's all about your mindset. It's all about sort of understanding that you're already a leader and that people are already following you. I like to tell my team that if you became a coach 5 minutes ago, congratulations, you just became a leader, right? Now, when you start sharing your journey on your social media, when you start sharing your journey in public, people are going to start following you. They're going to start kind of looking to you to see, is she going to stick with this thing? Is this really, how's this going to pan out? What are her results going to look like, right? So you automatically become a leader from the very beginning, even if you don't necessarily have any coaches on your team yet. So my takeaways for you guys tonight is yes, I want you to become a master of conversations, but I want you to also understand that rank doesn't equal leadership, and that your mentality and having a CEO's mentality is really going to help you have great conversations and be able to become a leader in this business, which is where you'll see success. So let's start a little bit with that, right? Let's talk a little bit about leadership, because I'm a huge personal development fan. When Jessica and I talked about topics for tonight, I was like, I could talk all day long about personal development, right? It's a huge thing for me and what I sort of attribute my success to in the business. But one thing that I'll share with you is, I've had a total of, I think, 11 different diamond coaches in my 8 years. And not all of those diamond coaches have been leaders, right? And so I've had emerald coaches on my team who've never advanced to diamond yet, but I consider them leaders of our team. So rank really doesn't equal leadership. I think that that's a common mistake. I think that it's important to know that when it comes to coaching your coaches, right, or coaching your challengers even, you want to do so in a way that reciprocates energy for energy. So if you're getting, just very 20% minimal energy from someone, you don't give them 80%, right? You match their energy that they're giving you. So when it comes to, how I go about this business, you're going to hear lots of different things on the National Wake Up Call. You're going to hear a lot of different things from a lot of successful coaches about what they focus on in their power hour. For me, it really comes down to 3 different things: conversations with my prospective challengers, conversations with my prospective coaches, and then conversations with my existing challengers and conversations with my existing coaches. So those are just sort of like, those are my vital behaviors, right? Because personal development is sort of already a part of me. I'm already pressing play. I'm already drinking my shake. Those types of vital behaviors seem to come easier to coaches in this business, right? You can get your workout in. That's something that you already love to do, most likely. So sometimes it's the conversations that are holding us back from moving ourselves forward. So that is sort of a basic job description of what we do. So let's talk a little bit about CEO mentality, because I know for me, when I'm around Carl Deichler, whether it's at Summit or just hearing him when he pops on a wake-up call, or seeing him do a live stream, I sort of feel like I level up, right? Like I feel like everybody in his close circle, or everybody that's listening to him, sort of has to level up. And hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. But there are people out there that just have such grand vision that it's hard to not be, kind of catch their contagion, if that makes any sense. And so I think it's because it's not necessarily that he's better than anybody else or smarter than anybody else or has more vision than anybody else. I think it really is just a matter of his belief in what we do and his overall mentality, right? So I read this, I was doing some research when I first crafted this part of the PowerPoint for a Super Saturday event that we hosted. And I was thinking, okay, where can I learn more about, surely there's research about what a CEO does. And I actually found this really cool article from Entrepreneur Magazine. So some of this content is from Entrepreneur Magazine, but basically, what do CEOs do? This is what I found. They set strategy and direction, right? So they aren't waiting for someone else to tell them what to do. They're not waiting for someone else to tell them when to run a challenge group or lead a sneak peek. They're planning that themselves. So they're strategizing their own business and they're following that in that direction. Number two, they model and they set the culture and behavior of the team. This was a huge thing for me, right? I felt like I was just stuck. Like I felt like I was like waiting for people to emerge from the ashes, basically, of my team and decide that they want to work the business. And I was looking for people to find self-motivation. I didn't realize that I had to create that culture within my team. And so I think this is a really important factor of what CEOs do, right? They model and set the culture and behavior of their team. Number three, they build and lead leaders. They use the strengths of those people to create a powerful sense of team. I am really good at the strategy piece. Like I'm really good at the planning and the organization. I'm not so good at the follow through. So I really look at, okay, who are some coaches on my team? Who are some leaders on my team who are really good at the execution and really good at the follow through? And how can I sort of employ them to help me in my areas of weakness, right? And that's the awesome thing about this business, is that we have that ability to really rely on the strengths of other people to help build us all up. Number four, we keep the company's priorities in mind when making all decisions. And number five, we communicate vision and values often. I love this quote: if vision is where we're going, values are how we get there. So you're like sitting here like, I thought you were going to show me your inbox, and I'm getting there. But I really think that there's a little bit of foundation that we have to know, that when you're heading into your relationship building and you're talking to people, you have to have this mindset, right? It's sort of like this walk the walk before you talk the talk type of approach. So let's go on. CEOs do not wait to be told what to do. They don't wing their agenda. They don't take all of the credit, right? Like I'm not sitting here taking all of the credit for my success. I'm attributing my team for a lot of the success that our challenge groups have, because I'm relying on other coaches to help me with that follow through. They live and lead by their own agenda, and they let others create the culture and behavior of the team. So while they're setting up the expectation of culture, they're letting others, actually create the culture and behavior of the team. So a lot of times I find that people don't really understand how accessible it is to be successful in this business. Honestly, I feel like I kind of sat around for several years feeling stuck, kind of feeling like I was at a plateau. I think I was a diamond coach for 3 years at least. And I just didn't understand how to level up my business, right? And it really was a matter of just making the decision that I was going to change my mentality into a CEO mentality. Like I wasn't going to rely on my upline to tell me what to do or to provide direction. I wasn't going to rely on someone to, like I said, emerge from the ashes from my downline to decide that they wanted to be successful. I needed to implement that myself. And so just as a refresher, I'm sure you guys already know this, but just elite activities in general, these are the things that I really try to help my team succeed with, is number one, achieving Success Club yourself, and then helping your customers succeed, right? So used to be, I feel like, we had a focus on achieving Success Club, and people would get really caught up in that, but not necessarily following through with helping those people who have purchased from them succeed, right? So it's important to us as coaches that we not only achieve Success Club and bring in new challengers, but that we're helping those people succeed by way of our challenge groups. Number two, we're helping our coaches achieve Success Club. So we're helping our coaches to do that same thing. We're duplicating, and we're recruiting new coaches to our team. So those are sort of the driving forces behind what, like, kind of my, I guess you could say, my end goal for every conversation that I'm having, right? Every conversation that I'm having, I'm wanting to drive it into a sale and success. I want it to lead to my Success Club points, and I want it to lead to that person succeeding in their health and fitness goals. Every time that I'm having a conversation with a coach, my focus is on their Success Club, right? Are they doing the same thing? Are they helping bring people into their network and helping those people succeed in a challenge group? So you're going to see those types of things reflected in the conversations that I'm going to share with you. I have kind of one of each to share with you. So bottom line is, all of this about taking ownership and mentality, having a CEO mindset, really just translates to being a master of relationships. It really is all about getting better with your conversations. I wish there was a way, you know how you can time hop on Facebook? I wish there was a way that I could somehow figure out, like, how to time hop back to 8 years ago when I was first making Facebook posts, and I was first, having private message conversations with my Facebook friends about my challenge groups, because I would love to be able to show you right now, this is what I used to say versus this is what I say now. But the truth is that it's not easy to do that. It's not easy to dig back in your messenger. But what I do know is that I have gotten so much better over the course of time, and I'm constantly learning. Every time I send a message, or every time I end up with an objection, or someone, says no to me or not right now, I actually do read back through the conversation all the way to the beginning to make sure, was there anything I could have said differently? Or did I make an assumption about this person that just didn't click? Or what did I do in this conversation that could have gone better? And so it sounds ridiculous, but I've had corporate mentors ask me, I've had fellow coaches ask, like, how did you go from this sort of 3-year plateau at Diamond to becoming an 8th place finishing team cup winner, team top 8 team, to a 6-star team in 1 year? Like, we literally jumped to that in 1 year, and then 2-time elite. And the answer really is, I decided to put a focus on my conversations with people, really building relationships, and then helping my coaches do the same. And to this day, my private messenger is a constant to-do list for me, because not only am I managing my own conversations and relationships with people, but I'm also helping my coaches do that, right? So especially new coaches, I want them to send me their conversations. I want them to screenshot what they're saying to people and what people are saying back, so that I can help them understand what they should be saying back to those people. So not trying to volunteer your upline to be somebody to do that, for you or with you, but it does help to bounce ideas off of people, because it could be that you're this close to some sort of massive success in this business, right? Like rank advancement or financial gain or Success Club or whatever your goals are. You could be this close, but there's something that you can tweak in your conversations that's going to just pivot you. It's going to help you build more trust in those relationships. It's going to kind of help you execute on those goals. So let's go ahead and dive in. So when it comes to conversations, my hard and fast rule is to always keep it casual and be a human. Okay. And I know that you're like, wow, she had her speak on this call to tell me to be casual, but it's true. Okay. I see so many coaches who overthink what they're sharing. Okay. So they say too much, like it's like a case of verbal diarrhea, or they make assumptions, or they have a fear in their mind that this person is going to be hung up on price. So right off the bat, they come out with their own insecurity about this person's potential objection about price, right? There's all kinds of things that can happen, and we're going to talk about those things. But at the end of the day, I don't know if you guys, probably a lot of you guys are my generation. And so, I know when I was in college, we had a thing called AOL Instant Messenger. right? And I would go to my college class, and while I was gone, I would put up a message that would be like, off to class, right? It'd be like a status update. And that would just let people know that I'm not available right now, right? And so I don't know if you guys remember AOL or not, but it was a thing. And I think MSN was a thing too. And so that's sort of the same way that I treat my Facebook Messenger. I'm not in it all the time. I check it in the morning. I check it in the evening. I have different sort of 30-minute increments that I plan to dive into those conversations. It's not something that I'm just constantly, on my phone all day long. So, but what I'm doing though is I'm bouncing back and forth in conversation with people. So I'm not treating it, I see a lot of coaches treat it like an email situation where someone emails them or messages them asking them about their challenge group, and they feel like they have to put together a formal drafted response as if it's going out in an email or an actual physical mail letter. The truth is, a lot of times we can answer people with just one question right back or one statement right back. So I want you to really think about how can you lessen what you're saying and sort of keep it casual, keep it conversational. The second thing I want you to know is that the conversations you're having this month are next month's challengers and coaches, or they might even be 2 to 3 months down the road. So it's important for you to sort of kind of be in the trenches and talking to people, but just don't get discouraged if, Susie that you're talking to this month doesn't purchase a challenge pack and join your challenge group this month. You might just be in the building stages of building trust with her. And then, of course, lastly, your focus is always going to be in establishing trust. So at the end of the day, it is, we want to hit those goals. We want to hit Success Club. We want to advance our business. We want to help these people. But if there hasn't been a good sense of trust built between you and said person, then you're not quite there yet, right? You have to have that trust in order to move forward. So, okay, every single day, you guys, I hope you're talking to your coaches. I hope you're talking to your customers. And of course, I hope you're talking to people that are going to become your coaches and your customers. So that's what I want to show you is just some examples of each of those things, right? So I took some screenshots. Oh, wait, we're not there yet. Okay, so real quick, I have to plug this in here because like I said, I shared some of this training at a Super Saturday event. And I had so many people come up to me saying that this particular statement really rang true for them. So I kept it in here for you guys in case it helps you. But, whether it's Ironman or whatever, I hope that every time you sit down, so whether maybe you're like me, maybe you're somebody who wants to address your conversations and your private messenger at certain times of the day. I hope you treat your business like a business. I hope you're not at the beck and call of whoever messages you at any given time. But for me, I schedule that time. So I'm looking at it in the morning, I'm looking at it in the evening. And for me, I have to really decide that I'm going to put on a suit of armor, right? I'm going to put on this suit of armor that's like, I totally believe in what I have to offer. And I don't care if people are going to throw things at me, if they're going to say, go away, hell no, you're too aggressive, you're too this, you're too that, whatever. And I've had this mentality since day one, right? I tend to be that type of person. I've never really let what people think get in the way of what I have to offer. And so I hope that you can think that way too. But I know a lot of coaches have fear in the back of their minds. Like, what are these people going to think? Am I going to say the right thing? What if they tell me no, right? There can be a lot of fears that are there. And so in case this helps you, I want you to think every time you sit down to respond to people, I want you to be present. I want you to be focused. I want this to be like time that you've scheduled to do this. And I want you to just put on this suit of armor, which is sort of like this suit of belief, right? You're putting on this suit of belief that you are the CEO of your business and you are here to help these people. As I shared with you, everything about this business has changed my life, right? Like from the headaches to the finances to my family and our freedom overall, I feel like I can attribute to this business. So I don't let anything hold me back when it comes to sharing. And I hope you guys can have that same mentality. So again, CEOs are confident, they're driven by vision, they don't care about haters, they wear the armor of the belief in what they do, which isn't that powerful enough to fend off anyone or anything that's not in alignment with their goals. So every once in a while, I have somebody tell me that they think something's too expensive. Okay, sounds good. I'm here when you're ready, right? Sounds good. All right. Well, when you feel like you're ready to spend that much, I'll be here, right? And 90% of the time, those types of people come back around. Okay, so let's dive in. So, and I can, I think this might be recorded, but even if it's not, I can send these slides to Jessica too, if it's helpful. But the hard thing about sharing these conversations is sharing with you the context. So I'm going to do my best job here of sharing the context with you for each of these examples. So the first one that I have is this girlfriend of mine. We were actually sorority sisters in college. And I wouldn't say we were close friends. We kind of knew each other. We were in the same sorority. But we've been Facebook friends, obviously, since college. And she posted something on her social media about a salad or something, if I remember correctly. And so I asked her, I said something like, hey, first of all, I always go straight for it. So in case you haven't learned this by now, I think we've been talking for like 20 minutes, and hopefully by now you know that I'm a very like shooting straight, no BS type of person. I'm a very no drama person. So I really think that confidence and just coming right out with it can sometimes get you a long way. I think a lot of coaches have trouble converting people from that sort of forming, right? Those of you guys who've heard of forming, right? Which is building a relationship. They struggle with taking that forming into, with the transition into the sale. And so I don't think I have a problem with that, because I care about them and I am forming with them at the same time, but I just kind of go straight for it. And you can probably see that in these messages. So I saw her post about a salad, something about getting healthy. And I knew that she had liked a couple of my posts about my shift shop journey. And so I just straight up messaged her one night and said, I think you and your husband should join us for shift shop. And that was exactly how I made my invitation, like very direct. And she wrote back and said, oh, like you're saying this because you saw my salad and that I'm eating healthier. Tell me more. And I love this because this happens a lot, right? She came right out the gate with her excuse. So right off the bat, I knew her objection. She said, we're short on time and money at the moment. Summer is always slower for my sales, and I have the kids. Okay, I think that's all the excuses I can think of. So I wrote back and I said, I get it. As part of my online group, you would get access to the fitness programs for a year, and in the groups, we would help you with the meal planning and the food prep and would offer support and motivation. Shakeology is included as well. So I'm not hiding behind it. Like I'm sort of shooting it to her straight. Like, I understand that you're busy. This is sort of what you would get with my group, right? I'm showing her the value that the group has to offer. Of course, she's going to write back and say, what's the pricing? I will tell you, I don't always share a price. Sometimes I do come back to people and I ask a series of questions. In this case, I felt like I knew her well enough. I feel like we had been connected on social media long enough that I could go straight to it. But if it was someone that I wasn't as familiar with, I might have responded to her, instead of responding with a price, I might have responded to her and said something like, I'm happy to share more about the pricing information, but first, let me ask you a few questions to make sure that what I have to offer you in my group is the right fit for you. Okay, that's exactly what I would have said. And then I would say something like, how much time per day do you have for exercise? And I would let her answer that. And then I would say, awesome. How would you rate your current nutrition? And I would let her answer that, right? And so I would let her sort of walk herself into understanding that she needs what I have to offer. If that makes sense. In this particular case, I knew she just wanted an answer. She asked me, what's the pricing? I think we're most interested in Beachbody On Demand. Thankfully, nutrition isn't much of an issue here. If Patrick did the shopping, it would be a different story. And if we just do the Beachbody On Demand, is there an affiliate link that we could use so that you can get some kickback? So I wrote her back and I said, actually, I can generate the order to you. I will tell you that the combo pack of Beachbody On Demand and Shakeology is the best way to start. $160 is the discounted rate that we have going on, even if you plan to continue, don't plan to continue Shakeology beyond 1 month. I'd be surprised if you didn't love it though, right? And so she goes on, oh yeah, so then she goes MIA, right? I had to give you guys an example of somebody who just goes MIA. So she goes MIA. A couple weeks later, I do my follow-ups and I send her a message back. I'm like, hey, I have a few rock solid couples that are joining this next group with me. It's calling the Morgan's name. How is your jewelry business going? Right? So I wanted to, put that soft plug in there. I need you in this group, but how are things going for you? And she wrote back and said, hey, thanks for checking in. Is the 160 for both of us? She has some questions. She answers me about the kids. And then again, I write back to her and I tell her that price would get her access to the group. It would get her access to Shakeology. And again, she goes MIA. So a few days later, I would so love you guys to join us in this next round, is what I tell her. Crickets. 2 weeks later, I send her another message. I need your address, please. I'm mailing your samples tomorrow. Now, do you guys see anything here? She didn't ask me for a sample of Shakeology. What do I know from this conversation? I know that she's interested in Beachbody On Demand, and that the reason she's probably not responding, the reason she's not moving forward is because they're not so sure about the Shakeology. So I took it upon myself to say, what's your address? I'm going to mail you a sample tomorrow. So she wrote back and said, excited to try this without having to try a month's supply first. It's almost like I read her mind, right? So I sent her the sample. I wrote her back a few weeks later. I said, hey, I'm assuming that you've tried the sample. She said, yes, thank you for sending. The chocolate one was an easy favorite. I said, great to hear. Chocolate and cafe latte are my usual faves. I'd love to have you in the group. I love power couples. So then she says, thank you so much for your encouragement and follow-ups. You are a master. I want to be sure I'm understanding fully what we're committing to. 1 year of BOD, your coaching in groups, and 1 bag of Shakeology, correct? It scares me to say this because we're low on sleep, time, etc., but I think we're in. Okay, so you can kind of see how this conversation started in July. The sale didn't close until September. Got her into the group that I had going on in September. She's actually been a consistent challenger of mine since then. She's done, I would say 2 to 3 challenge groups with me since this one. And so I wanted to show you an example of just, first of all, sort of the persistence with the follow-up, and also somebody who doesn't necessarily respond, or who has a sort of a hiccup with one thing, whether it's I work out in the gym, I'm only interested in the shake, or if it's someone like her who's like, I really want the workouts for home, but I'm okay, I don't need the nutrition. Usually people aren't on board. If they're not on board with the whole thing, it's because of one thing. So if you can sort of focus on the thing that they have a hiccup with, like in this case, me sending her a Shakeology sample, that's going to be a great way to sort of get them to take the next step. So let's talk a little bit about new coach conversations. And honestly, this one really is just here so that I can show you sort of, and it's hard to show you because I do so much through voice messenger, but, and that's probably something to know as well. I really like people to hear my voice. I really like to hear their voice if they're willing to voice message me back. But I have found that there's just something about voice inflection and voice tone that can just build a relationship even stronger, even faster than sending text messages. So this is a newer coach of mine. This was back in the fall. And I had asked her to put together her sort of first challenge group invitation post. This is something that I help my new coaches with. I help them with their very first challenge group invitation post. And so she like overthought the heck out of it, right? She sent me the draft of it. And there are times when I will just, sort of help them. I'll copy and paste theirs, and I'll edit it, and I'll send it back and say, do this instead. Right. But in this case, I knew this coach was super hesitant about sharing her journey. I knew that she was going to share her before and after photo. I knew she was nervous about it. And so I sent her a voice message, and I was just like, you know what, Julie, like you just need to put it out there, right? Like you have been hemming and hawing about this post for like 3 days. I think it's fantastic. I think you just need to put it out there. And so she did. Sent her that voice message. She put it out there. And the next day she messaged me to say 110 likes, loves, and wows, Hokey Pete. I like your idea of a private message. I had told her that she should private message the people who had offered support. And she said, I know I will see some of them personally. I will work to get messages to them today, but it might be tonight or first thing in the morning. So I'm showing you that example just to show you that, like I said before, I'm not just focused on prospective people. I'm also focused on the people I have. I'm also focused on building relationships and trust with my coaches and with my current challengers. And then here is an example of sort of ongoing relationship building with one of my existing challengers. This person's been a challenger of mine for like 2 to 3 years. She kind of comes in and out of the challenge groups. And I try to keep really close tabs on all of my people. So if they're active on Shakeology, when I pull my reports in my online office and I see who's consistently ordering Shakeology, those are the people that I'm following up with, right? I'm making sure that they still know I'm still their coach. I still have groups. I still want to get them plugged into whatever they're doing. So anyway, in this case, I had messaged her several times before August 4th, asking how things were going, asking her for an update, and she never responded. And then randomly on August 4th, she sent me a message back that said, my husband bought donuts for breakfast today. We're at the lake expecting a house full of friends, so there will be snacks and treats. I resisted, major for me, since donuts would be my number one cheat food. I ate my breakfast and I'm about to kill Speed 35 Lakeside. Thanks for the coaching. I love the challenge groups, so motivating. So super simple, right? She finally updated me, that's fine. I wrote her back, I love this. I love that you love the group. Drink your shake and stick to plan. You'll feel better for it. I know you know. And then I made sure that she got the invitation to my next challenge tracker challenge group. So again, just sharing this to show you that I'm not just having conversations with prospectives. I'm also taking care of the people that I already have. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick drink. Talking fast. My throat's dry. Okay, so I asked permission. This is one of my coaches just messaged me this last night. She said, could I have done something differently? She said, I messaged this girl who I've been talking to for a while. She said she had reached out on one of her posts, and she said, did I say something that I shouldn't have said? And so I have since coached her on this, and I asked her today if I could share this with you guys on the call just to help you guys as well, because I think it's important to sometimes see what not to do in conversations. And I don't necessarily think that this was a terrible thing to do. I just think that based on the context of the situation, this I think might happen a lot. I think coaches tend to make assumptions based on their own sort of what held them back, right? So I have a different new coach that I was talking to today, and she's already worried about these people that she's going to talk to and whether, I don't think they're going to be able to afford the shake, and I know they're going to bring up price objection. She hasn't even invited them yet. She hasn't even, so she's already sort of planting that assumption in her own mind heading into the conversation, and you absolutely cannot do that. You cannot make the assumption that someone doesn't have the money for this or whatever. So in this particular case, my coach had reached out and had asked the series of questions to get to know this person better, very similar to what I just told you I do with people. And so she asked her, about her fitness. The girl responded. She asked her, how about your nutrition? What does a typical day of eating look like for you? And so she wrote back, the prospective challenger wrote back and said, not good at all. My family eats out a lot. I never know what to cook or what to buy when I go grocery shopping. Now, I've been doing this for 8 years, okay? So my response to that would have probably been to be a little bit more aggressive and to partner her problem with a solution for that problem, right? So if I know that my challenge group offers weekly grocery lists, which we do, and we offer weekly menus tied to that grocery list with the recipes included, which we do, then that's what I would have focused on in my response. I would have said, oh my gosh, girl, I totally understand, eating with a family can be so hard, especially when it comes to making healthy adjustments. Do you think it would be helpful for you if you were in a support group of other moms like you and your weekly menu and grocery list was supplied to you? That's probably what I would have said and what I would have asked. Because most likely the answer to that would have been, oh my gosh, that would be a game changer for me, right? But I think my coach made the mistake of, for some reason in her mind, thinking that this person needed a more beginner approach or needed a different program. And so, by the way, this person had reached out about 80-day obsession. And so my coach responded to her saying, okay, to be honest, I think 80-day obsession will be too intense. I'd actually recommend starting with one of our other programs. It's only 3 weeks long, and it's fantastic for easing into the world of clean eating. It allows a lot more flexibility, delivers results, and would be a perfect place to start. It's also only $160, so that's nice too. What are your thoughts? And so the thing I don't like about this is, number one, like I said, it's not terrible, but the thing I don't like about it is this girl was interested in the program that she was talking about, and there's no reason to dive deeper into what program is best for this person when this person really just needs help with the grocery shopping and the meal plan, right? So my personal feeling would be get her into the challenge group, get her to purchase a challenge pack, and then say, hey, I know you want to do 80-day obsession, but what do you think about starting with something like 21-day fix? That's going to get you a really great And then I would have gone into this type of thing. I think she was maybe too many steps ahead. And I think she had the assumption in her mind that this person wanted the cheapest option or something when she talks about the price. Does that make sense to you guys? So making assumptions is by far the number one what not to do, and that I see a lot of coaches do in their conversations. They sort of jump ahead, and they're too slow to partner their solution of their challenge group to the problem that person has in their conversation. So taking ownership in your business, right? It's really all about mindset. It's really a system of wash, rinse, repeat. The more conversations that you have, the more relationships that you're building in the business, the better you're going to get at this. I'm not perfect at it. I don't think Melanie Mitro probably isn't even perfect at it, right? Like there's so much more we can do and so much better we can always become. But I hope you realize that if someone like me, who initially never wanted anything to do with network marketing, never wanted anything to do with having to build friends and build relationships, if I can do this thing and I can get better at it every single day, then you certainly can too. But it's going to take you sort of taking that next step. It's going to take you, creating time for your business to really sit down and put thought and time and effort into your messages. I just told my husband tonight, he said, how come sometimes you get on your computer and sometimes you don't? And I said, well, most of the time I'm on social media. I'm not really doing anything else. But the reason I get on my computer is because for some reason for me, it's easier to type and it's easier for me to think and it's easier for me to sort of put more value because I'm not fast typing. I'm not just sort of like responding to respond on my phone. So in case that speaks to you, I'll throw that in there as well. So let's wrap it up because I know you guys are probably sick of hearing me. But number one, start every day with a CEO's mindset. Put on your suit of armor in belief and become a master of conversations, because that's going to lead to you becoming a master of relationships. And that truly is what's going to help you succeed in the business. So if you guys have any questions or if I missed anything, I'm happy to answer anything else that I did not answer there. And I haven't seen you for like 20 minutes because I was sharing that. So hang on.
Jenny, there's a couple questions in the chat box. This was so good. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So what would you suggest coaches who don't really have the money for extra Shakeology to send samples? Yeah, so I don't do it a lot, honestly. I think probably since January, I've sent maybe 3. So, I mean, if somebody is super hung up on, like in that particular case, I knew the person and I knew that she was really sold on the Beachbody On Demand. I knew that she was liking all of my posts about Shift Shop. She was kind of like into the fitness piece. And I knew that if I could just get Shakeology to her, that she might be a little more open to it. So I was very confident by sending it to her. Now, way back when I started my business, I used to send samples all the time and it was a total waste. And I don't recommend doing it for everybody, right? But in those cases where you have a good gut feeling, like it's just going to send this person over the edge to commit, it is a good idea to do. So if you don't have the money to do it, the other option is, of course, to get them to try the sampler pack, right? Like we have the I don't know, whatever, $25 or $30 sampler pack. One thing that my team has been doing consistently is running like a 5-day sampler challenge group. So quarterly, they might do like a 5-day sampler group, and that gets those people who are on the fence about Shakeology to try it and then potentially move into a full group. So, okay, how often are you following up with your current Shakeology customers and challengers? Yeah, so when I sit down to do like I call it like a follow-up blitz. So I do like a I don't send invitations every single day. I sit down to do like a follow-up blitz. I think I heard about that from Janelle Summers, and I was like, I like that, because for me, it just was more natural, right? Like, granted, if I got a message tonight and I'm on my phone and it was a girl that was like, I'm interested and I have 5 minutes, I'll probably take the 5 minutes to write back and get her signed up or whatever. But when it comes to a follow-up plan, I really like to just sit down and say, I sort of have an ongoing list month by month. So I look at the beginning of each month, I'm shooting for that Success Club 10. I always write down the names of 5 people that I've already been talking to. So who are 5 people that I feel like I can probably lock into a challenge pack this month and get them into my group? Sometimes it's those 5 people, sometimes it's 5 totally different people, but it's just the act of me working my business and focusing on it that gets me there. So what I do though is I sit down and I say, okay, here's the list of 20 or 30 people that I've been talking to. These are the people that I want to close. These are the people that are my current challengers I need to follow up on. So I sort of have a list of each, and I check in with them, I would say once a week. So if I have a challenger who's super active in the group, I'm not necessarily private messaging them, right? Because I see what they're doing. But if I have somebody that's fallen off, I might private message them. So one thing that's worth mentioning, I feel like Jessica's going to be like, oh my gosh, you say this all the time. But I'm a huge fan of email marketing. So, and that's another topic that I probably could have talked on to that I'm passionate about. But you guys have probably heard Shalene, if you listen to Shalene's podcast on the importance of email marketing. I don't really do anything besides Facebook and email marketing. I'm just now sort of entering Instagram world. It's brand new to me. I just literally signed up for it a few days ago. And the first photo on my Instagram feed was some bodybuilder's butt cheeks. And I was like, this is why I have not done Instagram so far. But anyways, that's a little side note. But my email marketing takes care of a lot of my relationship nurturing. So anytime I have a new customer join my challenge group or buy a challenge pack, that person's email address automatically gets put into my email marketing. So they get put into my newsletter list. So that's me making sure that if I'm not following up with that person enough, that they're hearing from me in their inbox, right? So it's sort of like a backup plan. So oftentimes those people will reach out and say like, oh my gosh, I love the recipes that you sent in your last newsletter. And I'm like, oh yeah, Julie, I forgot to follow up with her or whatever. But my email marketing is taking care of that for me. So I make sure that I put value into that as well. Yeah. Any other questions? What is my newsletter like? I can send you a screenshot of my recent one. I send out I do it through MailChimp. I have like the upgraded plan on MailChimp. I started my email list probably 2 years into coaching. And I'm pretty sure that I started off with like my mom, my aunt, my husband, and my brother or something on my email list. And I'm up to like 4,000 subscribers on my email list now, which is pretty cool. So, and it's a great way to just make sure that people are hearing from me consistently, right? So, but the actual newsletter itself, I send it out on the first of each month consistently. And the first part of it is usually a photo of me or, something that I've done recently, just so that they can kind of get to know me. Like I even sent one out, this is a side note, but when we adopted our daughter, I sent out one of just our picture with her at the hospital. Just, you know what I mean? Like just trying to make that sort of connection with people. So anyways, but I'll put a picture and then I'll put like a little sort of motivational letter, something about what I'm focusing on this month. A lot of times it'll be because I'm very personal development oriented. It'll be whatever I'm reading, something that I've been thinking about, like I'll share that in a letter. And then below that, I have a Shakeology recipe of the month with a photo. I have a family-friendly, usually 21-day fix approved, recipe, crock-pot recipe or something that I'll include. And then at the very bottom, I have my sort of, I don't know what you call it, like call out for my challenge group. So the first email of the month that goes out has that information. At the very bottom of it, it'll have maybe like somebody's before and after photo. It'll say like now enrolling for my next 80-day obsession challenge group, right? And then what I do intentionally, so it's sort of like an afterthought in my main newsletter, but then what I do intentionally is middle of the month, I send out the same people get an email blast that is just that call out. So all I do is go into my MailChimp and I delete everything above that. Does that make sense? From my newsletter, so that it's just that before, same exact thing, like before and after, and it's the same thing about the 80-day obsession, but it's just more, remember, you saw this once, here it is again, right? And then at the end of the month, I do the exact same thing. I swap out the photo, and I put a direct link that says like, click here to message me for more information. And it's a direct, when they click on that, it pulls up an email to me so that all they have to do is click send. There's a way to do that in MailChimp. It's super easy. And then I change the subject line of that last email to say last call. So it'll be like last call for my 80-day obsession group starting April 23rd. So usually it's sort of like my first newsletter of the month. This is a really long answer. My first newsletter of the month is usually my value add, right? Here's my motivation and inspiration. Here's my personal development feedback. Here's my favorite recipes. By the way, I have this group coming up. And then I sort of do my sales punches 2 more times. So
it's super cool. Thank you.
It works for me. I would say, 4 to 6 points a month for me. I mean, it's definitely the reason behind that Success Club 10, 75 months, because 4 to 6 points a month are coming from my email list.
And how are you? Oh, sorry, Jenny, because I know it's late, but just a quick question, because you've told me some of this, but how are you adding people to that email? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's late. Your contacts. How are you adding people to your contacts? Can you explain to that briefly to them?
Sure. You mean like for the email list?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing as to whether or not I find people on social media and pull them into my email list, or if somebody maybe refers me, right? Like if my mom sent it to her friend, and then her friend is now my subscriber, I might then pull that friend onto my social media as well. Does that make sense? So it's sort of this like web of relationship. So, but for the most part, what I do is I make sure that the people who I'm talking to on social media know that I have it's sort of like my second sale. So I'm trying to get them into a challenge pack. I'm trying to get them into my challenge group. But then my 1-2 punch is always like, once I generate their order, I'm like, awesome. The group starts on this day. Once you get your Shakeology in the mail, let me know and I'll get you added to the group. In the meantime, since I have your email address, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add you to my email list. And that way you hear from me, you get more recipes from me, whatever. So they know that not only are they getting this challenge pack in the mail and they're going to be in my group, but they're also automatically being added to this email with free recipes, etc. So the people that I sell to obviously go on that list. But the people who I don't sell to, the people who I'm just building their relationship with, if they tell me no, not right now, that's usually a sign that maybe we don't have enough trust built up yet, right? And so that's where I usually will ask them. I'll say, I totally understand. Is it okay if I keep you in the loop in the future for future groups that I might be offering? And usually people are like, yeah, that's fine. And when they say that, I say, if I could get your email address, I'll actually plug you into my email distribution. And that way you can hear about upcoming groups that I have, recipes, da. And I have actually found that when that happens, and when someone gets on my email list and they start to see these pictures come in their inbox of my really cute 18-month-old or like my life, like they connect with me differently, right? They're not just seeing me on social media, but now they're hearing from me there too. So it kind of helps speed along that trust process. Yeah, but I use that email marketing as like a 1-2 punch. Like I not only want them to be in my group, but even if they're not, I want them to get the free value in the email too.
I think that's genius. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's a Janelle Summers thing I learned. It wasn't my own innovation, but yeah, it's a cool way to just make sure that you're connecting with people constantly, because social media is ever changing, as you guys know.
Right. Because those emails are yours, essentially. Like if Facebook disappears tomorrow, you still have 4,000 people. I mean, think about that, guys. It's pretty awesome. So I love it.
Yeah. Highly recommended. And MailChimp is super intuitive. Like if you're somebody who's sitting here like, I'm not tech savvy, they made it so that it's super intuitive. There's, it's like big, large buttons that are like, change my design color. It's like you can figure it out. So it takes a while the first time you do it, but the nice thing is once you have your template created, every month, all I do is go in and I click duplicate campaign, and I just change out the words. Like, it's super easy to do from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's all kinds of, like, I could go on and on about MailChimp, but you guys should check it out if you don't have it already.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Well, we've had you for almost an hour. So I just appreciate your time so much. Guys, I know that Jenny's open. If you have any other questions that come up, you can shoot her a message or shoot me a message and I can pass it along to her. But I just really want to thank you for your time. And I love the visual of putting on my suit of armor. Like, it is just, I don't know. I loved it. I got a lot of really great takeaways, great nuggets of information. And I feel like I have a pretty high confidence when it comes to messaging people about this business. But I still feel like I need that visual of the suit of armor. And I think we're all guilty of making assumptions. There's just so many great nuggets. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I thank you guys so much for calling in and for your time. So
But I just feel
my team will hear from you next Wednesday, correct?
yes, next Wednesday evening. So just thank you so much. And I can't wait to share the recording with my team. I know that they're going to be grateful for all your insight and your examples. Examples are gold. So
yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Awesome, you guys. Well, have a great night.
Yes, you too. Good night. Thanks, Jenny.
You guys.
Thank you guys for tuning in.